औज़ुबिल्लाहि मिनश्शैतानिर्रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम वसयुजन्नबुहल अत्क़ा अल्लज़ी यु'ती मालहु यतज़क्का वमा लिअहदिन इंदहु मिन निअमतिन तुजज़ा इल्ला इब्तिग़ाअ वजहि रब्बिहिल अअला वलसौफ़ यरज़ा वक़ाल तआला इल्ला तंसुरूहु फ़क़द नसरहुल्लाह इज़ अख़रजहुल्लज़ीन कफ़रू थानिय इस्नैन इज़ हुमा फ़िल ग़ार इज़ यक़ूलु लिसाहिबिही ला तहज़न इन्नल्लाह मअना फ़अंज़लल्लाहु सकीनतहु अलैहि वअय्यदहु बिजुनूदिन लम तरौहा वजअल कलिमतल्लज़ीन कफ़रू सुफ़ला वकलिमतुल्लाहि हियल उलिया वल्लाहु अज़ीज़ुल हकीम। वक़ाल तआला वला यअतलि उलुल फ़ज़्लि मिनकुम वस्सअति अन यु'तू उलिल क़ुरबा वल मसाकीन वल मुहाजिरीन फ़ी सबीलिल्लाह वलयअफ़ू वलयस्फ़हू अला तुहिब्बूना अन यग़फ़िरल्लाहु लकुम वल्लाहु गफ़ूरुर रहीम। वक़ाल नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम इन्न अमन्नन नासि अलैया फ़ी सुहबतिही व मालिही अबू बकर वलौ कुन्तु मुत्तखिदन खलीलन लत्तखज़्तु अबा बकरिन खलीला वलाकिन्न उख़ुव्वतल इस्लाम व मवद्दतहु ला तुबक़यन्न फ़िल मस्जिद खौख़तुन इल्ला खौख़तु अबी बकरिन रवाहुल बुखारी व मुस्लिम। वक़ाल अलैहिस्सलातु वस्सलाम मा लिअहदिन इंदना यदुन इल्ला वक़द काफ़ैनाहु मा खला अबा बकर फ़इन्न लहु इंदना यदन युकाफ़िउहु अल्लाहु बिहा यौमल क़ियामति वमा नफ़अनी मालु अहदिन क़त्तु मा नफ़अनी मालु अबी बकर वलौ कुन्तु मुत्तखिदन खलीलन लत्तखज़्तु अबा बकर खलीला अला व इन्न साहिबकुम खलीलुल्लाह रवाहु तिर्मिज़ी। वक़ाल अलैहिस्सलातु वस्सलाम लिअबी बकर अंत साहिबी फ़िल ग़ार व साहिबी अलल हौज़। वक़ाल अलैहिस्सलातु वस्सलाम ला यंबग़ी लिक़ौमिन फ़ीहिम अबू बकरिन अन यउम्महुम ग़ैरुहु। वअन आयशा रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हा अन्न अबा बकर दख़ल अला रसूलिल्लाहि सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम फ़क़ाल अंत अतीक़ुल्लाहि मिन नार फ़यौमइज़िन सुम्मिय अतीक़न। वअन अबी हुरैरा रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हु क़ाल क़ाल रसूलुल्लाहि सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम अतानी जिब्राईल फ़अख़ज़ बियदी फ़अरानी बाबल जन्नह अल्लज़ी यदख़ुलु मिन्हु उम्मती फ़क़ाल अबू बकर या रसूलल्लाह वदिदतु अन्नी कुन्तु मअक हत्ता अंज़ुर इलैहि फ़क़ाल रसूलुल्लाहि सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम अमा इन्नक या अबा बकर अव्वलु मन यदख़ुलुल जन्नत मिन उम्मती रवाहु अबू दाऊद। वअन जुबैर इब्न मुतइम रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हु क़ाल अतत अन्नबिय्य सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम इम्रअतुन फ़कल्लमतहु फ़ी शैइन फ़अमरहा अन तर्जिअ इलैहि क़ालत या रसूलल्लाह अरअयत इन जिअतु वलम अजिदक कअन्नहा तुरीदुल मौत क़ाल फ़इन लम तजिदीनी फ़अती अबा बकरिन रवाहुल बुखारी व मुस्लिम। वअन आयशा रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हा क़ालत क़ाल ली रसूलुल्लाहि सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम फ़ी मरदिही उदई ली अबा बकरिन अबाकी व अखाकी हत्ता अक्तुब किताबन फ़इन्नी अख़ाफ़ु अन यतवन्ना मुतमन्निन व यक़ूल क़ाइलुन अना वला व यअबल्लाहु वल मुअमिनून इल्ला अबा बकरिन रवाहु मुस्लिम। सदक़ल्लाहु मौलाना अज़ीम व सदक़ रसूलुहु नबियुल करीम व नहनु अला मा क़ाल रब्बुना व ख़ालिक़ुना व राज़िक़ुना मिनश शाहिदीन वश्शाकिरीन वल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन। इन्नल्लाह व मलाइकतहु युसल्लूना अलन नबी या अय्युहल्लज़ीना आमनू सल्लू अलैहि व सल्लिमू तस्लीमा। दुरूद शरीफ पढ़ लें। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि व सल्लिम व बारिक अला सय्यिदिना व मौलाना मुहम्मदिन अब्दिका व रसूलिका नबिय्यिल उम्मी नबिय्यिर रहमह कमा तुहिब्बु व तर्दा अदद मा तुहिब्बु व तर्दा कुल्लमा ज़करहु ज़ाकिरून व कुल्लमा गफ़ला अन ज़िक्रिल गाफ़िलून। आज हमने हजरत सैयदना अबू बकर सिद्दीक़ रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हु के कुछ फ़ज़ाइल मनाक़िब बयान करने हैं। खुलफ़ाए राशिदीन की इंशाअल्लाह एक अच्छी सीरीज़ हो जाएगी। खुलफ़ाए राशिदीन में सबसे पहले खलीफा, the first Khalifa of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is Sayyiduna Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu. Sayyiduna Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu was 2 years younger than Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And in the pre-Islamic era, before the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam was gifted, blessed with prophethood, Sayyiduna Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu was a close friend of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And that is why when the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam was given prophethood, he offered it first and foremost to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. He knew he was his best friend and he would accept it immediately. And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu said kalma la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu immediately. That is why in one hadith the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that whenever I offered Islam to anyone, he had a slight hesitation except for one person, and that was Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu anhu had no hesitation, no tala'thum, atakna, khatak, बगैर किसी खटक अटक के फौरन कलमा पढ़ लिया. हत्ता के सैयदना अली करमल्लाहु वजहू, he also said, Ya Rasulullah, can I make mashwara with my father Abu Talib first? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no, I don't want anybody to know at the moment, so don't make mashwara with your father Abu Talib. So Ali karramallahu wajhahu spent the night, and next morning he said, Ya Rasulullah, I don't want to do mashwara, I want to accept Islam. So Ali karramallahu wajhahu also accepted Islam. But Abu Bakr, without any hesitation, immediately accepted Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as Prophet of Allah and declared Tawheed and oneness of Allah. And not only that, he immediately began to support Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his mission. It was Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu anhu who had a shop in Makkah Mukarramah, and his friends would come and sit with him in the evening, and there he offered Islam to them. And upon his tashkil and his instructions and his encouragement, many embraced Islam, like Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, Talha ibn Ubaidillah, Zubayr ibn al-Awwam, Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah. They all embraced Islam upon the encouragement of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu anhu. In fact, Uthman Ghani radiyallahu anhu also embraced Islam upon the encouragement of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu anhu. He once saw some dream, and Abu Bakr was well known for interpreting dreams. And he came and asked that what is the meaning of this dream? And Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu anhu said, the meaning is that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is there, go and accept Islam and say kalma shahadat. So many great Sahaba embraced Islam due to the encouragement of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu anhu. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu anhu stayed with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam around him. He would always be with him. Abu Zar Ghifari radiyallahu anhu says, right in the beginning, when the word spread around that a prophet has emerged in Makkah and he is calling people towards Tawheed, he traveled from Ghifar and came to Makkah Mukarramah, to Quraysh. But because there was a lot of tension and people wouldn't talk about Muhammad, they were scared, so he stayed in the vicinity of Ka'batullah Sharif for a few days, but he was unable to ask people, where is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he says, one night, I was sitting in Haram Sharif, and two ladies came and they were doing tawaf of Kaaba Sharif, and they had no clothes on and they were saying labbaik with shirk. So I reprimanded them that don't say these shirkiya words. And Abu Zar Ghifari said some harsh words. So he said that they just ran off. And they saw two persons entering Kaaba Sharif secretly. And they were the Prophet ﷺ and Abu Bakr. And I had not recognized them. So they came and they did istilam of Hajar Aswad, and they did their own tawaf at night on their own. And I watched them, I observed them. Then I went and did salam to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, Assalamu alayka ya Rasulullah. And then he replied, and I maybe was Abu Zar Ghifari said, I was the first one to greet him in that manner. He asked me, where are you from? He took me to his place. So he says, at that moment, I saw Rasulullah and Abu Bakr both entering Haram Sharif, Kaaba Sharif, and they both came together and did tawaf. Uthman Ghani radiallahu anhu's case, or someone else's case, he says that he saw something, and Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu was sitting with Uthman, and he encouraged him and offered Islam to him. And meanwhile he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passing by, and Abu Bakr said, go ask him quickly. And he took Uthman and said to him, Ya Rasulullah, this, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained, and Uthman Ghani radiallahu anhu embraced Islam. So from the very beginning, and everybody knew that Abu Bakr and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam are one. They are one persons, one soul in two bodies. They are same. Their thinking is same. Their attitude is same, and they are both on one mission. This is why sometimes people used to, hurt Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu in order to hurt Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in order to hurt Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. But they were both one. In the beginning, it so happened that once some people, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in Haram Sharif. Some mushrikeen came and surrounded him and started beating him and strangled him. So one of them got a rope or something and strangled Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now Sayyiduna Ali ibn Abi Talib says that once someone said to Ali that, oh Ali, you are very brave, you are very bahadur. And Sayyiduna Ali says, me, I am brave? No, I am not bahadur, I am not brave. Brave is Abu Bakr Siddiq. I saw that day when the mushrikeen and the rogues had surrounded Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they were beating him, and we were scared, we couldn't do anything, we were shaking, I was shaking. Nobody has the courage to go and save Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Somebody informed Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr came rushing, and he went into the midst of the crowd, and he pushed someone here and pushed someone there and pushed someone over there, and he said, أَتَقْتُلُونَ رَجُلًا أَنْ يَقُولَ رَبِّيَ اللَّهِ وَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ. And he rescued Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from them. And he said, are you killing someone just because he's saying, my Lord is Allah, and he has brought clear proofs to you? And in another instance, they left Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they started beating Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. And they beat him up so much that he started bleeding. His Qabila and tribe Banu Taym were informed, and they quickly came rushing, and they saved him. And when the Qabila came, the rest of the Quraysh dispersed and ran away. Now Abu Bakr had fallen and he had fainted, he was unconscious. And the Qabila, his tribe, carried him to his house, and they nursed him, they gave him some water to drink, clean his wounds. And when he comes to his senses, the first question he asks is, how is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And they say, oh, that person due to whom all this musibat and problem has come, even when he is getting, he's coming to his senses and conscious, he's asking about that person, leave him alone, abandon him. They all ran away, went away. Now he was left with his wife, and his wife brought some food and said, you are very weak, have something to eat. And he replied, no, I will eat nothing until I see Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She said, he is okay, you don't need to worry. He said, no, I want to see him first. So she said, okay, it's not advisable to take you out at the moment, but when things calm down and everybody settles down in their homes, then we will take you. So when darkness fell and everybody settled in their home, she, along with someone else, carried Abu Bakr, supporting him on their shoulders, and dragged him to Darul Arqam, where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in hiding. And as soon as he reached there, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam opened the door, they both embraced one another and they both began to cry. And they cried and cried. They said, Ya Rasulullah, as long as you are okay, I'm okay. Whatever happens to me, I don't care. But nothing should happen to you. This is right from the beginning. And Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu is always with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Umar Farooq embraces Islam. Time passes on, few years pass by. Many ayat are revealed regarding Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. The time comes when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has been boycotted, and the Muslims and Banu Hashim have been sent to Sha'bi Abi Talib, the valley of Abu Talib, and they stay there for 3 years, and they have been boycotted in such a manner that nobody buys and sells anything from them, nobody talks to them, nobody helps them, except someone secretly goes at night and gives some flour or food or something. Otherwise, their babies are dying. They need medicine, but they are not providing medicine for them. And they said that abandon Muhammad, hand him over to us so we can kill him. Otherwise, all Banu Hashim and all Muslims who are following Muhammad will die in that valley. We will not allow them back into Makkah Mukarramah. During those 3, painstaking, hard years, Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu supported Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and stayed side by side with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When those 3 years pass and time is passing by, some Sahaba had migrated to Habasha. There was one instance when Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu got to a point where he could not take it anymore, and that was because the mushrikeen said, you are not allowed to worship Allah. You can't pray namaz, you can't do ibadat, you can't read the Quran. So he asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, mushrikeen are stopping me from worshipping Allah. Would you allow me to go to some town nearby where I can worship Allah in peaceful manner? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam permitted him, and he just set off from Makkah Mukarramah. And he went, he had just gone out of the city, and he met this person called Ibn Daghina. And Ibn Daghina said, Abu Bakr, where are you going? He said, well, people are stopping me from worshipping Allah. I need some peaceful place to do ibadat and pray namaz and make du'as. So Ibn Daghina said, no, you are a very nice person, you are a very generous person, you show hospitality to the guests, and you nurse the sick, and you speak the truth, and you help the poor and the needy, and you carry the load of others. He said exactly the same qualities which Khadija had mentioned for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the beginning. And such people are needed in a city. If these types of people abandon a city, then that city will be destroyed. So you should not leave city of Makkah. You come back, and I will give you protection. So if Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu agreed, Ibn Daghina brought him and he said to the mushrikeen of Makkah that Abu Bakr is a nice person. You should not drive away these types of good people. Your city needs these types of good people. So let him stay and worship. I give him my protection. Now Ibn Daghina was a leader of his community, so they couldn't refuse. So however, the mushrikeen Makkah said, okay, we will allow you, but one condition. Tell him that he mustn't worship Allah in his Islamic way openly. He can worship inside his home, but not outside openly where people can see him. So Ibn Daghina said, okay, and he put this condition. Now Abu Bakr Siddiq started worshipping Allah inside his house, but he felt he didn't get any feelings in there. So he erected or constructed a small compound outside his house, and there he would stand in the open area and worship. Now it was his land and it was his place. However, the wall which he had constructed was not very high. It was up to chest height, and people passing by could see him worshipping, could see him and praying namaz. And Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu was such that during namaz he would cry profusely. And when the ladies of mushrikeen women, their wives, their women and their children would pass by, they would just stand there and admire Abu Bakr Siddiq, listen to his recitation, and they could feel that Quran and the effects of the Quran. So now the mushrikeen of Makkah, they didn't like that. So they sent someone to Ibn Daghina that Abu Bakr has violated the condition you put before him. So either you tell him to go back in his home, or you take your protection away. So Ibn Daghina came and he said, Abu Bakr, please, either you go in your home, you give my protection back. Abu Bakr Siddiq said, okay, I give you your protection back. And I am content with the protection offered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said, okay, he went away. And Abu Bakr Siddiq kept on worshipping Allah in the manner which he would worship. Now, he had to go through some hardships before this, some taunts, abuse, and persecution. However, he persevered. Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu was one of the wealthy people of Makkah Mukarramah. When he embraced Islam, he had a lot of money, but he spent all that on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and for the deen of Islam. Once Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu was passing by and he saw some new Muslim slaves being tortured. He bought them and freed them. Once he saw Bilal Habshi radiallahu anhu being tortured. He went to Umayyah ibn Khalaf Jumahi and he said, why are you torturing that man? You sell him to me, I want to buy him. He said, no, I'm not going to sell you. He said, you name your price. And he named a very high price, and Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu paid that price and bought Bilal and freed him. And Bilal radiallahu anhu was very grateful to Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu for this favor, and he never forgot that favor. He always respected Abu Bakr Siddiq. He used to take Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu as his master, because he bought me and he freed me, so he is my master. So our Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu kept on spending and spending and spending. He freed many slaves and saved them from the torture of the mushrikeen, their masters. In fact, in one place it's narrated when he embraced Islam, he had 40,000. And he kept on spending. When he left Makkah Mukarramah at the time of migration, he only had 5,000 left on him. And when he arrived at Medina Munawwara, he kept spending that as well on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To the extent that at the time of Ghazwa Tabuk, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked for chanda, he brought everything he had, and he had nothing left in his household. And that is why, because of this generosity of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once remarked, "Ma nafa'ani malun qattu, ma nafa'ani malu Abi Bakr." No one's wealth has benefited me as much as Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu's wealth has benefited me. One Sahabi says, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam would use Abu Bakr's money as he would use his own money. He would take and he would give and he would spend like he would be spending from his own money. That is how much close he was to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was to him. So Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu kept spending and spending for the deen of Islam, and for freeing slaves, and for supporting Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Till when Khadija radiallahu anha passed away, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was very lonely, and he had small children in his house. So someone said, Ya Rasulullah, marry some a lady to so you can get some peace, sukoon. So he said, to whom? He replied, to whom? And this Khawla bint Hakim lady said, Ya Rasulullah, if you want a widow or a divorce, then you have Sauda bint Zam'a. And if you want a virgin, then you have your friend Abu Bakr's daughter Aisha. So he said, go and talk to them both. So she went and she said to Abu Bakr that I have brought you a very nice news and this proposal. And he said that, well, Aisha is already engaged to Jubair, son of Mut'im ibn Adi. So I have to ask them and inquire from them first before I can reply. So then Khawla went to Sauda bint Zam'a's house. And while Abu Bakr Siddiq went to Mut'im ibn Adi's house, Sauda bint Zam'a's father permitted, and Sauda radiallahu anha was wedded with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Mut'im ibn Adi gave permission as well, and the wedding took place with Aisha radiallahu anha as well. But Aisha was small, so the rukhsati was not done because she was still small, but she became the wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the tender age of 6. And Abu Bakr Siddiq and Aisha's father and mother, her parents were not irresponsible. They knew what they were doing. They married Aisha radiallahu anha. After 3 years after migration, Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu sent Aisha radiallahu anha to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He knew that Aisha has grown up now. She's nearly 10 and she's grown up. And in those, the climates are different, times are different. So at that time, in that climate, she was grown up, and she was. It was okay to send her to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Abu Bakr himself asked Rasulullah, "Ya Rasulullah, why are you not calling your wife home?" And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "I have no expenses. I need some place for her to live." So he said, "Ya Rasulullah, I'll offer everything. I'll offer the expenses." And he provided the lodging, that place, and he brought the utensils and the bistara and the, chula and bartan and utensil and the, stove and cooking stuff and everything. And then he sent his daughter to Rasulullah. So which father-in-law would do this today? That provide the lodging, provide all the necessities of married life, and then give the daughter. This was Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. I am here, I will spend, why are you scared? And he sent Aisha radiallahu anhu. So Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu kept on spending everything for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the order, instruction of Hijrat came, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam immediately went to whose house? Abu Bakr Siddiq's house. And he said, "Abu Bakr, I have been permitted to migrate." The Sahabas, one by one, were departing from Medina Munawwara. Many had gone. Makkah was now getting empty, deserted from the Muslims. Only the women and only the weak ones were left behind. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was also given permission. He went to Abu Bakr during the afternoon time when everybody is sleeping in Qailula, when nobody would be going around. So suddenly Aisha says it was noon time, and we were shocked to see Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam approaching. And he came and he said, "Oh Abu Bakr, is there anybody here?" And he replied, "No, just me and my two daughters, Aisha and Asma." So he said, "Okay, I have brought some good news. I have been permitted to migrate." And Abu Bakr was jumping with joy and he said, "Ya Rasulullah, please take me with you, please take me with you. As-sahabata ya Rasulullah, I want to be your companion." And Rasulullah said, yes, you will be my companion. That's why I have come here to tell you. So Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu had prepared two very nice, strong, fast-running camels for this type of journey, because he knew that this order is coming and he was in preparation for that. So he said, "Ya Rasulullah, I have two camels and we will use them." Rasulullah said, "No, I will buy one camel." Abu Bakr Siddiq said, "No, you can have it for free." And Rasulullah said, "No, I want the sawab of my hijrat for myself as well. So I will buy it of you, I will pay you." And this Abu Bakr said, "Okay, as you wish." And the story of hijrat takes place, and they leave for Ghar Thawr at night. So Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam left at night for Ghar Thawr. Now, when they arrive at Ghar Thawr, Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, in one direction, sometimes he runs ahead of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, rushes ahead, sometimes behind, sometimes ahead, sometimes behind. He said, "Ya Rasul," Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked, "Abu Bakr, what are you doing?" He said, "Ya Rasulullah, sometimes I'm scared that somebody might be lying in wait for you at the front, so I rush ahead. Then I get scared that somebody might be coming from behind, so I go back, and then forth and back." Then when they arrived at the Ghar Thawr and they climbed that mountain, it's a very steep mountain, and they went into the arrived at the Ghar. He said, "Ya Rasulullah, please, you wait here. This cave, we are going to be in the cave, but what if there is some reptile or something in the cave and something might bite you, and I would rather die than something happening to you. Let me go in there first." Sayyiduna Umar radiallahu anhu says over here in this hadith that if Abu Bakr would give me one night and one day, I would give him my a'mal of my whole life, the deeds of my whole life. That one night is the night of Ghar. He says over here, وَدِدْتُ أَنَّ عَمَلِي كُلَّهُ مِثْلَ عَمَلِهِ يَوْمًا وَاحِدًا مِنْ أَيَّامِهِ وَلَيْلَةً وَاحِدَةً مِنْ لَيَالِيهِ أما ليلته فليلة سار مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من الغار فلما انتهيا إليه قال والله لا تدخلوا حتى أدخل قبلك فإن كان فيه شيء أصابني دونك فدخل فكسحه. Abu Bakr went inside and he swept it. فكسحه. He took all the dirt away, kachara wachara. ووجد في جانبه ثقبا, and he saw some holes on one side. فشق إزاره وسدها به. He took part of his lungi, open sheet, and he tore it, and he blocked those holes. وَبَقِيَ مِنْهَا إِثْنَانِ 2 holes were left. فَأَلْقَمَهُمَا رِجْلَيْهِ He put his feet over those 2 holes. ثُمَّ قَالَ لِرَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم ادخل. Then he said, Ya Rasulullah, please come in. فَدَخَلَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم وَضَعَ رَأْسَهُ فِي حِجْرِهِ وَنَامَ. Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم went inside, and he placed his head in the lap of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, and he immediately fell asleep because he was tired. Of course he was tired. It was night time, sleeping time, everybody sleeping, and he had come out of his house. He was scared. They had walked nearly 3 miles. They had climbed that mountain. So both of them were tired. But Abu Bakr was not worried about him. He was worried about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is sleeping in his lap. فَلُدِغَ أَبُو بَكْرٍ فِي رِجْلِهِ مِنَ الْجُحْرِ Abu Bakr was bitten by a snake from inside one of those holes. وَلَمْ يَتَحَرَّكْ مَخَافَةَ أَن يَنْتَبِهَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. He did not move for fear of waking Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam up, disturbing his sleep. فَسَقَطَتْ دُمُوعُهُ عَلَى وَجْهِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. However, he could not stop the tears. Due to the intensity of the pain, he started crying, and his tears trickled and fell upon the face of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam woke up, and he said, فَقَالَ مَا لَكَ يَا أَبَا بَكْرٍ What happened to Abu Bakr? قَالَ لُدِغْتُ فِدَاكَ أَبِي وَأُمِّي May my mother and father be sacrificed for you, Ya Rasulullah. I have been bitten. فَتَفَلَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم فَذَهَبَ مَا يَجِدُهُ Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam applied his saliva on the place, and all the pain went away. ثُمَّ انْتَفَضَ عَلَيْهِ وَكَانَ سَبَبَ مَوْتِهِ And it was this poison which returned at the time of his death, and it was the reason for Abu Bakr's death.
No.
Sometimes that effect comes after a few months and years. So after many years, the effect of that poison again, shot up, and it was the reason of death of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. This was what happened inside Rasool. So this is Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. Now they stay in that ghar for 3 days, and who made all the arrangements? Abu Bakr Siddiq. He had prepared the 2 fast running camels. He had made an oath with Amir ibn Fuhayra and Abdullah ibn al-Khirrit, the guide, and he told them that after 3 days you must come to Ghar Thawr, and then we will move from there. During these 3 days, who used to bring food for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr Siddiq? Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu's son, Abdul Rahman ibn Abi Bakr. He used to bring food. And how? Asma would secretly, Abu Bakr's daughter would tie the food and then give it to him, and he would bring some goats with him. So the goats would follow him and up to the ghar, and there he would give them the food, and then he would go back with the goats, and the goats would erase his footsteps, and people wouldn't find out. And he would also bring the news from Makkah Mukarramah, what's going on in that day. He would sit outside the ghar, he would feed them and give them the news, and then he would go away. So during these 3 days, when they were in the hiding, it was the family of Abu Bakr who were taking care of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr, both of them. And then after 3 days they departed, and when they were going, they were running, they were fearing for their lives. Anybody could catch them and murder them both, because there were 100 camels on both heads, that whoever brings them dead or alive will get 100 camel reward. But Abu Bakr is not worried about him, he's worried about his beloved Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they just move on. During the way, many things happen. One place they arrive after tiring journey of few hours, good few hours. They come at a place, it's afternoon time, they need some rest. He finds some good place in a shade of a huge rock, and he says, Ya Rasulullah, there is some nice cool shade over here. You sit, lie down and rest over here. I'll see and check out everything around if I can find something for us. And he goes to check around, and he sees one shepherd, looking after some sheep, goats. And he said, who's for whom are you working? And he said, for so and so. Whose goats are these? So and so's. Okay, we are travelers. We need some milk. Will you milk some for us? He said, okay, no problem. Because the owner was known to Abu Bakr Siddiq, and Abu Bakr knew that that milk is okay for them. First of all, they were in the state of dire need. Secondly, the person was a friend of Abu Bakr, well known to him, so it's okay to take his milk. So Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu told him, get a bowl, clean it, and then he said, milk some. He said, first take all the dust away and then milk. And he took a whole bowl full of milk. Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu brings it, and in the meantime Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has had a good rest, and he is now getting up. Abu Bakr said, I had a one water carrier made from leather skin, and it had some cold water in there. I took some cold water from there and put it on the hot milk, and I mixed it until the milk became a little bit cold and the heat of that milk went away. And then I said, Ya Rasulullah, ishrab. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam drank. I said, please Ya Rasulullah, drink more and more. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam drank to his fill. Then he gave the other companions, then he drank himself, and then they move on. We note over here that he is he is thinking about the aram and the rest of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but not himself. They move on. At one place, Suraqa ibn Malik is coming after them, and Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu is riding on one camel with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is at the front, Siddiq Akbar at the back, and on the other camel is Amir ibn Fuhaira and the Dalil and the Rehbar, the guide, Abdullah ibn Khirrit. So Suraqa ibn Malik approaches, and Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu sees a horseman, riding, galloping. His horse is galloping, and he's got arms in his hand, weapons, and spear and sword. And Abu Bakr Siddiq says, Ya Rasulullah, oh no, we've been caught. We are going to be killed now. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reciting Quran, and he's not even turning back. And he's saying, Ya Abu Bakr, don't worry. Ma zannuka bisnayn, Allahu salisuhuma. What would you say about those two, the third of whom is Allah? Allah is with us. We need not worry. Allah is with us. He is just looking ahead, and Abu Bakr is scared and looking back, and he's just frantic. And suddenly, the front two legs of the horse of Suraqa, they go inside that, the earth which is solid, the solid earth. There was no quicksand or water or anything, or mud or anything. It was heat, and the earth was solid, and up to the knees. The front two legs of the horse go inside the land up to their knees. And Suraqa ibn Malik falls over when he has come close. And he says, I realize that you have sent a curse upon me, and I know that I cannot harm you. Please forgive me. Forgive me. I will not harm you. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stops, and he says, okay, may Allah forgive you. What is your problem? He said, well, I am sorry. We had heard about that reward. So in that greed for that reward, I ran after you. And this is what happened. Please, sorry, my mistake. And I have some food to offer if you need some. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no, we don't have need for food at the moment. And he said, okay, is there anything I can do for you? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, well, if somebody else is coming in, chasing us, then drive them back. And he said, okay, I will do that. And he said, I am the leader of this area, and I feel that one day you are going to become the ruler of this area. So can you write some aman and security, peace treaty for me? No. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Abu Bakr, write something for him. And he wrote some words of peace and aman for him, and then they move on. During the way, someone met Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu and asked him, oh Abu Bakr, who is this person with you? Because that person knew Abu Bakr due to the travels of the trades and journeys, but he didn't know Abu Bakr. So Abu Bakr couldn't say that it's the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, otherwise they would go and inform. So what Abu Bakr said was, Hadini Yahdini. He is a guide who is guiding me. Now that person thought that he is guiding along the road, but Abu Bakr meant that he is guiding me towards Allah on the Hidayat Sirat al-Mustaqim. So Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu did the Tawriya. No. When Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu was with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Ghar, it was only him and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for how many days? 3 days. And that is the incident regarding which Allah revealed in the Quran. Allah said, إِلَّا تَنْصُرُوهُ فَقَدْ نَصَرَهُ اللَّهُ إِذَا خَرَجَهُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. O Muslims, if you don't help Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and support him, then Allah helped him when the mushrikeen drove him out of Makkah Mukarramah. ثاني اثنين, when he was the second of the two. إِذْ هُمَا فِي الْغَارِ, when the twain, both of them were in the cave. إِذْ يَقُولُ لِصَاحِبِهِ لَا تَحْزَنْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَنَا, when he was saying to his companion, don't grieve, verily Allah is with us. فَأَنزَلَ اللَّهُ سَكِينَتَهُ عَلَيْهِ, so Allah sent down sakina upon his heart. Now the main person over here is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Abu Bakr is just along with him. That's why Allah mentioned the singular zamir and not zamir for isnayn. The noun for two is not mentioned. One is sakinatahu alayhi, meaning Abu Bakr is included with him. وَأَيَّدَهُ بِجُنُودٍ لَمْ تَرَوْهَا, Allah assisted him with armies which you did not see. The armies which you did not see, first the army of angels who were protecting them, guarding them. And second, the army of the pigeons and the spider. The spider made the web on the entrance of the cave, and the pigeons made the nests, and they laid the eggs. So when the mushrikeen came to look, and they climbed on the mountain looking, and they said that the person who was following the footsteps, he said the trail leads over here, but from here we don't know where they've gone. They've been picked up from the skies or taken somewhere, I don't know, but they hear the footsteps end. So what they do, they look at the cave. Now Abu Bakr Siddiq is inside and he is terrified because the cave is not very big, it's a very small cave. So he said, Ya Rasulullah, they are here. If one of them just sits down and looks at us, he will see us. But Rasulullah is very content in there as well. And same words, مَا ظَنُّكَ بِاثْنَيْنِ اللَّهُ ثَالِثُهُمَا, we are two, third is Allah, they can't harm us. Now, what happens? They look at that spider web and they look at that pigeon's nest and they say, oh, if they had gone in there, then that spider web and the pigeon nest would not be there. Because this has been there before Muhammad was born. It's so old because spider webs takes a long time. So this spider web has been made before the birth of Muhammad. And this pigeon's nest has been here for a long time as well. They're not in there. So let's go back. And then they go back. Oh. So that is the incident which Allah is mentioning. وَأَيَّدَهُ بِجُنُودٍ لَمْ تَرَوْهَا وَجَعَلَ كَلِمَةَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا السُّفْلَى وَكَلِمَةُ اللَّهِ هِيَ الْعُلْيَا. Allah put the words of the disbelievers down, and Allah's word always stays up. Wallahu azizun hakim. Allah is mighty, Allah is wise. So this is Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu migrating with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, arriving at Makkah Mukarramah. Medina Munawwara. When they arrive at Medina Munawwara, they are sitting at Quba and people come to see. Now, Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu had a few grey hair and he looked a bit old. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at that time, I was 53, but he had no grey hair. He looked young and handsome. So when people would come, that Rasulullah is here, they don't know who he is. They haven't seen a photo or anything of him. So when they come to see him, they think that Abu Bakr is Rasulullah because he looks a bit old. But after a while, when the shade goes away and Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu takes an umbrella and opens it up and puts the shade on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's when people say, oh, Rasulullah is he. This is the khidmat of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. So they stay there, and then Abu Bakr Siddiq and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam move on to the city of Medina after a few days, and they both reside at the house of Sayyidina Abu Ayyub al-Ansari radiallahu anhu. And Abu Ayyub Ansari radiallahu anhu was one of the Ansar, and he was a very, very honored among them. And he had a good house. He was from the clan of Banu Najjar, who are the clan of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. Because Abdul Muttalib's mother is from Banu Najjar. So they are distant relatives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like they are Naniyal, Nana of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stayed at Abu Ayyub Ansari's house. He said, the Untni jahan baithegi wahi hamara ghar hoga. Wherever the camel sits, we are. So camel went and sat near the house. It was from Allah, Allah's order. She sat there and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stayed there. Abu Bakr and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam both stayed as guests of Abu Ayyub Ansari radiallahu anhu. During this time, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is going around the city of Medina. Siddiq Akbar is always with him. After a few days, he says that, we need some base, some place. So to make that base, we need a masjid. And they looked for some land, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was told that the land in front of the house of Abu Ayyub Ansari is a good spot. You can make a masjid over there. And that land belonged to two yateems, two orphans. And in there were some graves of some mushrikeen of past, and there were some date trees. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam bought the land, and he opened up the graves, and whatever bones that were left over there, they were dug out and they were buried elsewhere, and the land was made straight, and the trees were chopped off, cut, and everything from the trees was used in the construction of the masjid. The trunk was used as the pillars, and the leaves were used for the roof, and masjid was made in front of the house of Abu Ayyub Ansari radiallahu anhu. Now, when the yateems were called and they were asked that we need to purchase this land, they said that, Ya Rasulullah, we want to give you it as a gift. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no, you are yateem, we cannot accept the gift from yateem, we don't want to do injustice to you, we have to pay you. So we fix a price and we will pay the price. And a price was fixed. And who paid that price of the land? Sayyiduna Abu Bakr Siddiq. Allah. He had brought some money with him from Makkah Mukarramah. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I will pay for the land. And he paid for the land. And the masjid was built over there. Now if you construct a masjid at some place, then that masjid becomes a sadaqah jariyah for you till the day of Qiyamah. So what does that mean? Even till today, whoever prays in Masjid Nabawi in Medina Sharif, Abu Bakr Siddiq is getting sawab from there. Because he had purchased that land. He had made it waqf for masjid. So, and his sawab is increasing day by day. Every time someone prays namaz or does ibadat, Abu Bakr is getting sawab from there.
Nobody more deserving than him.
More deserving. So this is Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. Now, then they start staying there. Then after a few months, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam calls his family. Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu calls his family. They all arrive over here. In the beginning, Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu fell ill, and Bilal also fell ill. And they used to remember the city of Makkah, because both climates were totally different. Makkah was a very warm climate, and always, even in winter as well, it's quite hot over there. And Medina in winter is very cold, and people get fever, and the environment and the Abu Hawa was not agreeable to every person. People would fall ill. So they caught fever, and they are lying in their beds and they are remembering Makkah. Bilal would say, Ala layta shi'ri, hal abitanna laylatan, biwadin wa hawli izkhirun wa jalilu, wa hal aridan yawman miyaha majinnatin, wa hal yabduwan li shamatun wa tafilu. He would remember the mountains of Makkah, and he would remember the springs around Makkah and the bush areas. Said, I wish I could go back there and stay there for a few nights. And Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, when he was ill and he was lying on his bed and he was thinking that I'm going to die very soon, because he was so down. So he would say, كُلُّ امْرِئٍ مُصَبَّحٌ فِي أَهْلِهِ وَالْمَوْتُ أَدْنَى مِنْ شِرَاكِ نَعْلِهِ. Every man is going to die in his home, whether today or tomorrow. And death is more closer to a person than his own shoelace. My shoelace is not more closer to me than my death. My death is always with me and behind me with me. So Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu was so ill that he was thinking, I'm going to die. But then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made dua. Allahumma barik lana fi Makkah. Allahumma barik lana fi Medina. And wasahihha. وَاجْعَلْ وَانْقُلْ حُمَّاهَا بِالْجُحْفَةِ. He made some du'as, and among those du'as he said, Oh Allah, make the Abu Hawa, the climate of Medina Munawwara agreeable to us, and take the waba and sickness and illness of this city away from here and take it to Juhfa. One night he saw this dream, and he said, in my dream, I saw this old lady with disheveled hair and running away and getting out of Medina and going towards Jaffa. And the meaning and ta'bir interpretation of that dream I took is that the waba and the sicknesses of this climate has been taken away from him. And from then on, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, who were migrants, muhajir, because Ansar was from Medina, they didn't feel anything. Like today we go from here to Pakistan or India or Bangladesh, we fall ill for a few days, then we get together, our acts together. Especially those who are born here, then they go to India or our own town, country, they fall ill, they get sometimes chicken pox, sometimes fever, sometimes diarrhea. So this is what used to happen to the Sahaba who came from Makkah as well. But then after this dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, everything became okay for the Muhajireens as well. Abu Bakr was okay, Aisha radiallahu anha came. After a few months, nearly 7 months, Aisha radiallahu anha was sent to the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu supported Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at all times. You go about the battles, Ghazwa Badr is the first main battle, and Abu Bakr is side by side with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ghazwa Uhud, Ghazwa Khandaq, Ghazwa other Ghazwa Muraisi and Banu Mustalaq, and everywhere there is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu as well. He's a brave person, he's a warrior, and he fights like a warrior, and he's side by side with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Time goes on. We can go into the history, we can go into the manaqib of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. This is his support. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam appreciates his support. Every time, wherever Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam goes, Abu Bakr is with him. In fact, not only Abu Bakr, Umar is also with him. And that is why Ali Karamallah Wajhu once said that Umar is being buried here. I have heard Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam many times say, ذهبت أنا وأبو بكر وعمر خرجت أنا وأبو بكر وعمر دخلت أنا وأبو بكر وعمر. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam would come out of his house for salah, and his house was on the left side of Qibla, where the Riyazul Jannah and the Jali Sharif is, the Rawza Sharifa is on the left side of the Mimbar and the Mihrab. And Abu Bakr Siddiq's house was on the right side. Even today there is the Khawqa of Abu Bakr Siddiq. So, when it's Salah time, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam comes out of his house, Abu Bakr comes out of his house, he's waiting there for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sahabas are seating. When he comes out, Abu Bakr looks at him, they both smile at one another. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam comes to the Musalla, Abu Bakr Siddiq also comes, and Rasulullah goes ahead on the Musalla, and Abu Bakr Siddiq prays behind him. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say, لِيَلِينِي مِنْكُمْ أُولُو الْأَحْلَامِ وَالنُّهَى. Those among you who are wise and understanding should pray close to me, so that they can learn from me. If any mistakes, anything, they can correct me, they can help me, they can learn the masail from me, so they should stand close to me. So for this instruction, Abu Bakr, Umar, the great Sahaba, they used to stand behind Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And things happen, many incidents.